And we are live, I believe. What is happening? Manuel, hello. Let me know if you can hear everything. Trying some different stuff with the audio. I'm using different microphone technique here, different headset. So it's always a little weird when you change things. So, why are we showing no data? That's odd. Might not be able to do it this way. I may have to go back the other way. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, good. So I think I know why. All right. So okay, I'm getting a very low and a very poor connection to YouTube. And I'm not sure why. It's telling me that. So, let's see. Do I have anything on that's not supposed to be on? Not really. Not really. Okay. So bear with me here. I'm sorry. Looks like see, that's what happens when I go changing things. Okay. Stream. Okay. All right. I don't know why. I don't know why it's doing that. So I'll try to restart it, and if that doesn't work, then I may have to reset my router, which means I'm going to have to leave and come back, which that's no good. And it looks like that did not do it. Yeah, we have a poor connection. Okay. Well, I see no alternative. I'm going to have to restart the router, which means I have to disconnect. So I will do that, and I will be back shortly. Okay, I think that was definitely the issue. I think we got it figured out here. Perhaps. So, yeah, I think we, I think, I think, I think, what do I have? Two chats. That's weird. Oh, okay. Okay, so maybe we're getting there. Okay, okay, okay. Wow, haven't had this much difficulty in a while with this, so I guess that's to be expected sometimes. Okay. All right. Welcome. Now, why don't I have my chat? YouTube live chat disappeared on me. Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Scott, how you doing?
Martin, how are you, sir? Can you hear me?
Good. Thank you for inviting me on. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic. Okay. Fantastic. How you doing tonight?
Good. Just relaxing. Got a little basketball in the background. And, just chilling on a nice Friday night. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, same thing. I mean, I don't have basketball on, but yeah. Just hanging out, you know. I realized I just forgot to feed the cat, so I'm going to have to jump up and do that at some point here soon. He's probably hungry, but yeah, it's just me here. And yeah, I just, you know, it's kind of like, you know, I don't have anything to do tonight, so just go on live stream and, you know, see if I
same thing
can piss some people off.
Yeah, that's always fun to do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm just getting my bearings here set up. Okay. So, I don't know. I see this about the the AMC Super Bowl messages. What do you? I don't understand what that means. Surely they're not. I mean, they can't be doing anything officially with the Super Bowl. I mean, maybe there's what they're going to tweet during the Super Bowl. I don't know, but this is on Cat Striker's Twitter. AMC stock 99%.
Are they doing a Super Bowl ad?
I don't know. There's no way they could afford. I mean, well, I better not say that. I better not say that because there are probably some people involved in this that could afford it. But
Yeah.
AMC stock 99% beating the 1%. I mean, if only that were true. If only that was true. AMC short squeeze to the moon. AMC stock equals financial freedom. Wow. So, tell me your story. What's your deal, Martin? How did you end up here? Talking to me on, you know, a live stream.
I got into AMC. It was kind of right after GameStop started popping off. I think it was at work and people, it's at like $50-$60.
Yeah.
So I was looking at AMC. I think at the time it was $7-8. It was, you know, way cheaper. So I kind of started dabbling in it and did a lot of stuff on Reddit, and that kind of got me sucked into it. And then all the YouTubers like Trey, Matt, Wrench Capital. they were all, super perma bulls. Like they still are. I don't think I've heard any of them say anything bearish really about AMC. It's always, they could declare bankruptcy tomorrow and they spin it into a positive.
Now, let me ask you this: Were you, or did you use Reddit before this AMC thing? Were you a Reddit user before, or did you get into it sort of as a result? No. Okay, gotcha. I was just curious because I had Reddit and I've been on there, but mostly for like local stuff. So like, there's a subreddit for the city I live in. I live in Cleveland, so there's a Cleveland subreddit, and it's kind of like local community information, and so it's a bit different than what's on AMC stock subreddit. But I got into that too back in like May, I think it was, when I got wrapped up in this. I think it was May. So I was right along there with you at that point.
Yeah, I was in there pretty early. I mean, I remember that 801 battle they still talk about. I was there for that. So, I mean, I was a pretty hardcore, I guess a hardcore ape. At one point, I had most of my portfolio in it. I had 5,000 shares at one point.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I went all in. And this, what happened, I had Tesla before they started their pop. I was watching that Jeremy on that financial whatever YouTube channel.
Yeah, right.
And he kept pumping Tesla, so I bought it. I think I had like 250 shares, and then it was going. I believe it was Q3 earnings. And I go, shit, I'm going to sell it. I don't think they're gonna, beat or anything. And of course it did, because my plan was to sell it, buy some more shares. If it was going to tank. Of course, it did the opposite. And then
of course,
massive pump. But the thing with that, it gave me the mentality where it's like, I don't ever want to miss out on something like that again.
Right.
So I took that into AMC. It was like kind of a ride or die. Like, I'm going to either ride it up to wherever they think it's going to go, or it's going to go to zero. So I did that. They had that huge pump. What was that? When was that? June?
Yeah,
June 70s.
June 3rd. Yeah. Early June, late.
So I rode that up, and then I held, and then when I went back into the 40s, I just sold. I said, I'm done with this. It was just, I could see the writing on the wall.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, those YouTubers, they are, they're pretty good at, getting you. They're manipulators, man. They get you. They really can get you believing that garbage.
Did you ever? Did you ever see any of my videos from my first channel, by any chance?
No, okay. I actually never did. I found your channel. My old screen name was John Doe, and then I think I got banned probably for saying something about AMC or something. I got reported. So I think I followed your channel for a few months. But yeah, I had never knew about you. I was watching the Tony DeNaro stream, and he was referring to someone as Darth Vader and like the traitor, and I guess that was you. So I wanted to find out who it was. And
oh my God!
I finally found your channel.
Yeah,
I was the one that asked him to have you on the show, and then he had a little meltdown.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's when he flew off the handle. It was like, I will, he is a vile person, and I will never have Scott Allen on my channel. And like, oh my, like, holy shit, Tony, settle down. Now, I have to admit, I've, thrown my fair share of insults toward Tony. Now, the old channel I had was basically the same thing, but I mean, I had like over 100 videos. Like, I had quite a bit of stuff going back to late July or early August is when I started, and I wasn't working then, so I had a lot of time, free time, and nothing, really going on. So I, got into that, but it was a lot more aggressive then. Like, it was a lot more. I'm not going to say it was personal, because it was never personal, but I was more aggressive towards these guys, and calling them out and sort of poking fun at them, And I guess I do a little bit of that now, but it was much more like these guys are idiots. Listen to this guy. He's full of shit. Like very, very, more harder edge, I guess. But then the shit got deleted. So, and I was like, well, that happened like end of November, like right after Thanksgiving, actually. It just randomly one day, the shit was, it was like, we've removed your channel for, terms of service violation, blah, 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 And, I was like, well, fuck, do I want to even mess with this again? Like, that sucks. Do I want to even, try to do it again? Because I think I had like close to 350 subscribers before, that built up over time, which is still not many, but, it's more than 65. So I decided to come back, but, I decided to be a little bit more, less aggressive, I guess, and more, but it's, I was just curious because, if you had seen any of my old stuff, and then, yeah, the Tony, because there were a couple videos where I was pretty, I ripped into Tony pretty hard. But I mean, they honestly, they deserve it. They deserve, and I would always say, they deserve more than just me calling them out. Like, it's crazy that there's hardly anybody. Now there's more people. There are some people. I guess there are some people now that are, like casting some doubt on this. But back in July and August and September, there was nobody was, I mean, there were one or two other people that were saying anything other than the mainstream narrative for AMC. And it was much more like, I mean, I've been called every name in the book, I mean, the big one is, yeah, you must be a hedgie. You must be a hedgie. Like,
oh,
man,
yeah,
I wish that I were a hedge fund manager. I mean, I wish I made that kind of money. Shit, like.
Yeah, you and me both.
Like, and I don't know. I mean, I know that there are some shills out there. There have to be. Some of these people, whether it's Trey or Matt or those guys, or whether it's people on Reddit, I know there's got to be people like User of Intellect and Peter Hahn.
Who's
that guy.
he? I've heard you mention that name.
He's just one of these guys, one of these people that puts out terrible DD. Like, they pushed the nonsense about, what did they say? So do you remember the Say Technologies vote when they had that
when they were on Reddit posting all the pictures of their shares with the
yes, exactly. Yep. Yeah, those little like screenshot that had like a little like seal or something that said the number of shares. Right. So that was the guy, User of Intellect is the guy who like took all those and you somehow like did some math and tried to figure out like how many total shares there are beyond the float. But the problem is there weren't like they added them all up, and of course it was under, because it's only a certain percentage of shareholders are going to go vote. So of course it was way lower. So they did some fancy math, creative math, and tried to like extrapolate. Okay, so based on this as a sample, and they used that 4.1 million shareholders or whatever it was, and they said, and I think it was when Adam Aaron was saying 80% was owned by retail. He put all that shit together and made it very convincing argument to a lot of people that there must be 3 billion shares out there. And that's really where that shit started.
I remember Mac Morris when that happened. He came on, and I guess he was statistics, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, this is my specialty, and this proves there's billions synthetics." Just bullshit.
Right. I mean, yeah. I don't even think anybody would like. I don't know. It's just the confidence in these people. Like, they're very convincing. They can be very convincing to people that don't have, good critical thinking skills, I guess. And, I don't know how long you said you had a portfolio before this. So I'm assuming that you've been participating in the market for a while then, right? Or
I was Schwab, so I had them.
Okay.
They managed it for years. It was in Vanguard, and then I took it out, I've done actually really well with it. So I've
Yeah?
been doing it for probably a couple years now
Yeah. Yeah.
on my own. And yeah, it's doubled, and a lot of it's it's thanks to AMC. I mean, I can't.
Right.
I
Mhm.
don't hate the stock. I hate the people surrounding it. It's just
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a really vile community.
It really is. It's very much like political, kind of like not political in terms of like, you know, U.S. politicians, but like it has that same kind of energy, that same kind of us versus them. You know,
Oh yeah, definitely.
if you're a Republican, then you hate the Democrats, and if you're a Democrat, you hate the Republicans. And it's the same thing with this. Like, if you question anything, if you bring up any, you know, counter arguments or points, you know, it's just like, you know, go fuck your mother type. It's like, what the hell? Like,
yeah.
it's crazy. Like, and and all this hate that's directed towards the hedge funds. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I think Wall Street is the scummiest bunch around. I mean, they're assholes. They're, you know, they do manipulate and cheat, and they, you know, you're talking about the 1% versus the 99%. And I get that. Wall Street is, you know, the lowest, you know, type of of cretins. But at the end of the day, you know, I know, at least for me, I mean, I never thought, oh yeah, I'm going to go up against Wall Street. I'm going to beat Wall Street. I'm going to go the opposite way of Wall Street and win and take them down. Like, that's not what it's about. It's not about, because you're not going to do that. That's not the objective. The objective is to make money. However, on whatever you want, there's a million ways to do it. You know, on any, you know, you can trade stocks, you can trade options, you can trade bonds, you can trade, you know, you can bet against stock, you know, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. The point is to make money, but it's like, it's not about that anymore. With the apes, it's like, we want to change things. We want to, you know, the floor is prison. How many times I've seen that now on Reddit? The floor is prison. I'm not leaving until Ken Griffin's behind bars. Well, I don't think you're going to be leaving then, because the likelihood of that happening, you know, I don't know.
You got a better chance of Jesus Christ knocking on your door and handing you $1 million for each one of your AMC shares than that.
Right.
They're dreaming. It ain't going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's like, okay, what is the point? Like, actually, you know, you remember the naked shorts when Melissa Lee said naked shorts, on the air?
Yeah.
Of course, who forgot that? So I looked at that video. I went back and watched that video, the whole clip of that segment. And actually what they talk about, they don't talk about naked shorting. First of all, they don't he didn't say, what he said was, you know, there are people who are selling stock that they don't own, which is the definition of short selling. He didn't say they're selling stock that they didn't borrow. That would be naked shorting. So that's the first thing. Like, I don't know why she said that. That's not what they were talking about. So that's the first stupid thing.
Not to interrupt you, but that was prior to Matt and Trey going on to those shows, correct? That was before they
that's
went
a good
on to
question.
mainstream media.
That's a good question.
It was very close.
It was in June. I'm pretty sure it was in June, and they started going on there around the time of that run up in June. So I want to say, I can't tell you if it was before or after, but it was right around the same time, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, because they hyped it. You know, they obviously hyped it a lot. But in that segment, you know, one of the guys is saying that, you know, this narrative of retail versus hedge funds is false. Like, that's not what it is. That's not what it's about. Hedge funds are not trying to, you know, they're not out to crush retail investors. Like, that's not why they're there. And that's what retail has made it about. for some reason, because that, you know, they're inexperienced, and they see this and they say, oh, these guys are, you know, they're fucking us over and yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, that's a false narrative, and it misdirects from the actual point. And it was just really interesting to go back and watch that. Now, you know, actually I did that on my first channel. I highlighted that as well. But, like, you know, it was interesting to go back and watch it and say, wow. But my mind was focused so much on what I was being told by these influencers that I didn't even watch the whole clip. I just watched that one part and was like, oh shit, she said that. But, you know, the actual thing was there, you know, and that's what happens when you're biased. You know, you're not going to even hear what the hell they're talking about, because you already know.
Exactly.
You already have it in your head. And so many things like this are like this in this narrative. It's like, if you actually take the time to look into this stuff on a basic level, you don't even have to, like, go deep, you know, just go away from Reddit, away from YouTube, and, like, go, like, do some Google it. So much of this shit just falls apart. It's not based on reality at all. and that's the thing that's frustrating to me, because it's like, okay, I see guys like Matt Kors make $500,000 fucking on super chats, and, like, I'm not jealous. Don't get me wrong, I'm not jealous. It's just not right. The guy made his money, or Trey. These guys made their money by misleading people, and that's messed up. You know, like, there has to be some kind of, you know, counter to that. You know, and that's what this was always intended to be. It was like, all right, even if you watch my stuff and say, you know what, I see your point, but I disagree with you, you know, for X, Y, and Z reasons, and, you know, seeing your videos didn't convince me of anything. At least you looked at another side. And you were able to, like, you know, think about it. But it's like they can't even do that. It's like, it's so offensive that anybody would say, you know, anything other than what they already believe. And that's just like, that's cult. It's a cult. That's cult thinking.
It is. Oh,
it's like,
a cult.
you know, and that was, I don't know. You know, I don't want to monopolize the conversation here, but yeah, it's crazy. And that was, I've been probably, a couple years, you know, actively investing, actively trading and investing, you know, and trading options and things like that. And I really got into it last year, or 2020, I guess, you know, because I was unemployed for a while. So I was home, you know, and I was watching things and this and that. And so that's when I really started to get into finance and this stuff, was in 2020. But I've had a Fidelity account for years, you know, but I wasn't really actively trading anything, you know, like day trading or, you know, buying and selling much, you know, frequently. But shit. Oh yeah. So
Funny,
I was.
you know, you look at.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
You look at Trey now. Just look how bad he looks, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he looks horrible. I mean, I remember when he first started. You know, he was young.
He
looking full of life, and he looks like he's 10 years age. He looks like shit.
It's like, it's kind of like, that's how, you know, like, that's what happens to politicians too. When they get in, when they're running. When you first see him, like Barack Obama, he was young, had all this energy, and after like 6 years, he's got all gray hair and his face is droopy, you know, and it happens to all of them. And I think it's something like that, like, you know, because he knows that he is full of shit. I have no doubt he knows that he is bullshit at this point. Like, at one time, he was, I think he was genuine. And he admits that he was, like, he got into the market, like, shortly before GameStop. So he's new. He's totally new. He didn't do anything in the market. He got in, and he got lucky, essentially. So,
yeah.
You know, and that's great. That's fine. But you got to realize, like, yeah, you got lucky your first time. That doesn't happen that often. And you got to be, you have to be okay with losing if you're going to do this shit. Like, let's be honest. nobody wins all the fucking time, especially if you're trading,
No.
you're doing short squeeze and like trying to play these speculative things. Like, it's just not, like sometimes, yeah, you got to cut your losses, say, nope, I fucked up. That was a bad play. I'm going to try to learn from that, but it just, I lost money. What can I say? It happens. It happens to everybody, and you can't hang on to the shit like this. Like, that's a way to blow up your account, for good.
Oh, and a lot of people are going to blow their accounts because they will write it. They'll write it back down to $2.
I think, I have no doubt that that's right. That that they will.
At least.
Yeah, and that's, and the thing is, there's nothing special about blowing up your account. People do it every day. People have always done that. There's always people who are uninformed, that they think they know everything, and they don't, and they end up blowing up their accounts, losing all their money, and nobody cares. Nobody, you don't know, like, they're just, they just slither out, and they're gone, and and the market doesn't care at all. It goes on every day, and it doesn't care who blows up their accounts. And it's like that you're not proving anything by doing that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm going to hold till zero for change on Wall Street. People do that. People fucking blow up their shit every day, and it makes no difference to the market. That's what's funny about it. It's like, I don't know what you think you're going to prove, but I mean, it's nutty.
I don't even know if they know what I don't even know. It just seems like it's just. Well, first of all, the community, you can see, is turning in on itself.
Yeah.
Cold. I mean, you got a lot of the YouTubers going back and forth with each other, and
yeah, right.
I know Matt Kors. It sounds like it looks like he's just bailed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he even talks about AMC. I don't know. I guess Trey. I think Trey has some sort of a conscience. I don't think Matt does. I think he's just in it for the money.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it looks like Matt. I was looking through his videos the other day, and I got it up here. But I mean, yeah, it's like, it's just stuff about the market. Things are getting weird. Stock market decision time. Gary Gensler talks banning payment for order flow. Stuff like that. Like, just like, I don't know, market topics about it, but not really anything specific. I mean, maybe he does in the videos, but I mean, it doesn't look like it. And he does. I didn't see, AMC on anything here. Like, and this is going back a month now already. I'm looking through, and he's talking about crypto. He's talking about crypto here and there, which I'm not into at all. I mean, I got plenty of ways to lose money.
Yeah.
Already. I don't need.
About crypto.
I don't need another. I don't need a whole other. Every time, yeah, that's what Lynn always says. Anytime I trade crypto, I lose money, and I'm like, yeah, me too, actually. Anytime I've tried to.
Yeah, I think those are all just. Most of them seem like they're just pump and dumps.
Yeah.
I don't know what
sure.
fundamentals. Like, what is the purpose of a Shiba Inu coin? I don't know.
I don't think
Maybe
there is
one. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, yeah. And it's and there's so many. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing that's interesting, is like the apes, cry about market manipulation and all this stuff and blah blah blah, and the exchanges and off exchange and dark pools and whatever. And I mean, a lot of them are into crypto as well, but I mean, everybody who's in crypto, I mean, most people know that shit's unregulated. There's multiple exchanges, like an endless number of exchanges, all doing their own shit. The price is different in each exchange. Like, I mean, imagine if that's how the stock market was. At least we have a unified price. Like, crypto is all, independent, and that's a good thing, I guess. They see that as a good thing. But I mean, like the Citadel, like, high frequency trading, the way they make their money is they do a lot of trades, like, really fast, making fractions of a penny or whatever. And the same shit happens in crypto. They just go from exchange to exchange, and they notice that, oh, the price of Bitcoin over here is a little bit higher or lower and than in this exchange, and they trade against it, and it's basically the same thing. I oversimplified that, but I mean, like it has a lot of the same things, but it's even more unregulated, and I don't know. It's just I don't really see the point. That's always my thing. I don't really see why we need that. I don't know. There's probably some use for it, ultimately, but it seems like it is just, pump and dumps and rug pulls and whales and people buying in, getting people to follow, and then selling out and, scamming people. But I mean, there's a lot of straight up scams, like.
Oh, so there's a new coin every day, it seems like. And then I was watching that Matthew Perry guy, and he's making his own crypto coin.
Oh, my God. Really?
Yeah, I think it's BTD, I think he said. Yeah, I don't. There's probably a link on his YouTube, but
yeah, there probably is. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think there's... Well, I mean, I know I heard that there's over 8,000. There's probably more now. But yeah, I mean, it's just, like, this is like, I don't see the point. And if you think that the stock market is manipulated and unregulated, then, I mean, why would you touch crypto? But that's just my opinion.
That's a good point, though. You're right. Yeah.
Like, nobody's crying about that. Although they want to make it more like crypto, because they want to do the blockchain stuff and all that on the stock market. So I don't know. It's just weird because there's no substance behind it. Like these, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the market is manipulated. Obviously, Wall Street institutions, they run the show. I know that. But the difference is, and I think you might, I'm curious what you think, but like what I always learned and was told was like, you want to trade with Wall Street. Like you want to figure out what they're doing and go with them, because that's how, if you go with them, then you're riding the wave, as far, and instead of trying to swim against the stream, which is what it seems like the apes are trying to do. Like if you were, you know what I mean? Like, follow the smart money, that type of mentality. Like, what is Wall Street thinking? Which way is this going to go? I want to go with them, obviously, because that's where the money is. And this is like the opposite of that, which really, makes no sense. And that's when you get this like hold to zero stuff. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't like the bullshit on Wall Street shenanigans, but at the end of the day, if I can be able to spot it and jump in at the right time and make money, I don't care. I don't give a shit what they're doing. I'm not going to change it. It really doesn't affect my ability to make money. You can still make money. So why get so worked up about it? And be drama queens, when that's not, you're totally missing the point of why you would even go into the market. So I don't know, just kind of rambling, but did you see this?
No, I get what you're saying though.
You see this nonsense about the fire in Chicago?
At the whatever the store and all the documents.
Yeah, right.
About that.
Yeah, supposedly. And then Ken Griffin is supposedly on the run. That's what they're saying. That's what that's what they're saying on Reddit. Anyway. They're saying that.
Well, let me guess. They're saying that was an inside job on the fire to burn all the documents or something to protect them. Is that
right? That's what they're saying. Yeah. Of course, like Then I was looking up, like, I just did a Google search. I was looking for industrial warehouse fires from January 2018 to January 2022. Before this fire, I mean, there's warehouse fires almost every day in this country. So, like, now they're not necessarily document storage facilities, but I mean, still, it could be anything. Like that shit happens, and in wintertime too. I don't know where you live, but around here it gets
I'm
cold.
in the Bay Area.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Well, what do we got? We got right now. We got
back in the woods, I guess.
we got 19 degrees Fahrenheit right now here in northeast Ohio. So Cleveland, Ohio area. So, yeah, we have there's a lot of house fires from like space heaters and stuff like that. And there's just like, a lot of accidental in the wintertime. So, I read an article about that fire, and apparently it was pretty bad. Like, it was like, and then it relit. Like, it was like they've been fighting it for 2 days, but it's like,
wow.
They said it was stacked. The warehouse was basically just stacked floor to ceiling boxes of paper
With synthetic chairs.
Yeah, synthetic chairs. Yeah, but floor to ceiling of paper, basically. And so it was just, they don't know what caused the fire yet, but it was a total loss, essentially. But, I mean, what exists on paper now that doesn't have a digital copy? That's my question.
Yeah,
like
cloud or something
right.
like that.
They're going to have it. I mean, that's probably old records, who knows? And it was like, I forget what the name of it was, like access document storage or something like that. So it's a contractor. So if TD Ameritrade did use it to store some of their records, they have other clients too. It's not just TD Ameritrade. So there was stuff in there, probably from all kinds of businesses that was stored there. And that's another thing I haven't seen anybody mention about it. They're just like, oh, TD Ameritrade's, storage or whatever. Well, it's not their storage. It was like a third party, like these document management companies that come in and, you give them all your documents and they store them or shred them or, whatever. Like they deal with multiple companies. So I don't even know how much of it was relevant. I mean, I don't even know how we know. How do we even know that it was relative to TD Ameritrade or Citadel? I mean, everything is somehow related to Citadel in this, and Ken Griffin. So
Yeah.
because it's Chicago, I guess, because it's Chicago and that's where Citadel is, then it must be that Ken Griffin had his hand in it. I mean, it's just nonsense. Like, who thinks that? I don't know.
Well, they think everything revolves around it. I mean, every time crypto talks, I always remember, they're getting money do something with AMC. It's always, everything revolves around AMC to that.
Right. Yeah, it does. And I mean, and then people say that about me. Well, everything, all you do is bash AMC. You don't have anything better to do. Well, I mean, I don't know, I guess not, but I work, a lot, so like it actually is kind of a release for me to do this, like, something different that's not related to work and, whatever. I don't know. Let's see. I just
it's like
totally, I just totally forgot about the YouTube chat here. So, yeah. So I got the chat back. Manual and Model 3 Dude are there. So I got it. It should be. I should not miss it again because I've got it. I've got the window pinned to the top here, so it'll be visible now. So we talked about the burning building. Somebody said, please talk about the burning building. Check your fire alarm battery. Renting a plane to fly around with the AMC banner. That's what Kat was talking about when I said Super Bowl, whatever. When we first started, That's what that's for, is renting the plane, the banner plane, to fly around Super Bowl, I guess. Although I don't know how they're allowed to do that, because that's like some of the most restricted airspace you'll ever have. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah.
Well, plus it's a dome.
Yeah.
I think it's a dome. It's not like they would even see it. But,
yeah, that's a good point. Trey and Matt, only 2 YouTubers were bearish at the beginning. Dunning-Kruger effect. Yep, we talked about that a lot. And crypto is for fools. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah, caught up on the chat, and it looks like there are 4 viewers right now on YouTube. So, and I obviously I don't do this for like any money at all. I'm not making money doing this, and I'm not, obviously not really doing it for any reason other than just to put this shit
Scott,
out.
I thought you were getting paid by the hedge funds. I thought they were giving you big checks or something. Oh man.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's we don't talk about that here, but I wish. I mean, but I wouldn't do it. But it would be, man, if they came to me though and said, hey, we kind of like the direction you've gone here, but we want to give you some pointers, we'll help you out. It's like I wouldn't do it though. Like I wouldn't even want to be sponsored by. I wouldn't even want to have one of those Webull promotional codes. Like that shit to me is like, I don't know how people can, on one hand, complain about payment for order flow and off exchange and dark pool, and with the other side of their mouth give out a Webull promotional code, and they're one of the worst payment for order flow brokerages that exists. Like they're owned they're from China. So it's a foreign company anyway, and their payment for order flow, they get more actually for their payment for order flow than Robinhood does. Like they're one of the highest. Like their prices are like some of the worst fill executions. So, I mean, I don't know, but I never had a promotional code. I used to have in my description before, like, I had a link to Fidelity. It was like, sign up for an account on Fidelity, no free stocks, no promotional code, but it's a real brokerage. It's a real brokerage. It's not this, app, and they have an app, but yeah, it
the big
obvious
boy brokerage. It's not.
Yeah, obviously those guys are in it for their free stocks. They get free stocks, they get kickbacks. I mean, they must be getting Ortex for free, because I don't know why in the hell anybody would pay like $700 a year for that. I guess they can afford it.
Who introduced Ortex? Is it TMI? I know he always.
TMI does. Trey does. Short the VIX does. Oh, Short the VIX loves Ortex. Yeah, pretty much they all do. Who was that other guy? Well, anyway, yeah, most of them do. And it's interesting. It's an interesting thing, way to look at it or whatever. But I just don't really. I haven't been able to find one person who truly and can demonstrate it, who has ever actually used anything on Ortex to make money. Like, I don't know, because every time, you probably remember this, every time they came out with, short squeeze signal, the fucking thing went down the next day. It's like the week after that, the shit went down. And it's like, how many times, does somebody have to be wrong before you stop listening to them? Like, clearly they don't know, or they're putting that shit out intentionally, which I think is a better possibility. So Ortex is like, the guy that started it is like a hedge fund. He's like a Wall Street. He's a Wall Street insider. I don't remember exactly what he did, but he started this Ortex. And so what if Ortex was like pushing this narrative What if they were responsible? Like, and so they went to like Trey and these guys and like, hey, we'll give you a free subscription, and yada yada yada, and then they put out these short squeeze signals, and that causes people to buy in, and then they get the rug pulled. I don't know. Total speculation, but it wouldn't be a bad scam, honestly.
No, not at all. It's actually very believable. It's probably the case.
Yeah, right.
Part of me wonders, I mean, do you think Adam Aaron, do you think he ever paid Trey or any of these guys? I mean,
I don't know.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't either. And, Lynn and I have talked about Adam Aaron because she used to work in the corporate world. She worked with CEOs. She was like an executive assistant or secretary. I forget exactly. She'll if she's listening, she probably is like, no, I was this. No, I forget exactly. But she worked like directly with CEOs and C-suite executives. And, so we talked a lot about this. But, I don't know honestly, I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? But I could see it going either way. But I know that. Do you remember over the summer when all five YouTubers got together some place in Kansas, right? We called them the Kansas Five because they in that Solari, in like a sunroom, like a Florida room or whatever you call it, in some random house in Kansas. Flag. Yeah, it was very much a red flag, and that's like that. I had just started my channel whenever that happened, and because I remember I made video about it, and it was very suspicious because okay, now it's like they're trying to present a unified front. They're trying to merge their narratives into one narrative, and I don't like that. That's not how I work. I don't like, I don't listen to narratives. I just want to know the facts, and that's it. I don't want to know, what you guys decided. That's like conspiracy now. Literally, you guys conspired.
Well, another thing about that is the AMC's headquarters is in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if one of them lives there, but I mean, who knows? Maybe they sat down with Adam Aaron. He said, well, let's do this. And, if I can cash out at a certain price, I'll cut you all a check for whatever. And, everybody's happy. But I don't know. I'm surprised.
Who knows? Well, that's what made me think of that, because I know that happened in Kansas. They were going to the shareholder meeting or something, whatever it was out there. They went to the AMC headquarters. So, and it was right around the time of earnings, I think, and that meeting and all that shit. So there's a good chance that they did meet with Adam Aaron. And so, who knows? And then there's that whole all Trey's interviews with Adam Aaron, and the one where you see him sitting there in shorts, and that was such a huge fucking deal. And it's like, how many people did that during the pandemic when they were working from home on Zoom and stuff, and they were sitting there with a shirt and tie in their boxers, because you didn't see it ever. Like, that happened all the time. People do that shit. They've always done it. It means I don't know. I don't think. I just think they're reading into every detail. So
like the Jordan Belfort interview, he said something about he bought his wife an Aston Martin truck. For $250,000, and they're like, "Oh, is that a secret message?" Then they said, "Well, it's AMC Aston Martin car," and I go, "Well, he said truck first of all." Yeah, but they just look into all this. It's very, I don't know. It's very conspiratorial.
It is. It definitely is. Let's see. Model 3 dude says now they're saying that Facebook is tied to AMC. Facebook is tied to AMC. More like Zortex. More like Zortex. Zucchiniberg. After listening to those who know nothing. Remember when Trey went to war with Fintel? Manuel is asking. Remember when Trey went to war with Fintel? Oh, I barely remember that.
I don't remember that. I don't. No, I don't.
Because Fintel, because of the, there was, okay, so just like you said, it's very conspiratorial, and so whenever there's like a glitch in the data, then they get all like, oh, it's another glitch. Or, okay, TD Ameritrade reported 40% short interest, and the apes went nuts. So that wasn't too long ago, was it? I mean, that was like, it was last year. So, okay, Fintel corrected the short interest. And Trey, I think he got into a Twitter fight with them, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure. I do remember seeing the tweets, but it was like, that might have been around the time when I went back to work, and so there was like a good couple months that I didn't even look at any. Literally didn't look at AMC for almost 2 months, around that time, because I didn't have time to do videos really, but so yeah, I guess that's what happened. So let's see, let's look it up on Twitter here. Let's see, what is it? Trades Trey Fintel. So let's see, Manuel posted a photo. Let's see what we got here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's see, can I drag? Oh yeah, good. No. Try to get that over into. Screen momentarily.
He said when Ameritrade reported the 40% short. I remember that.
Yeah, that was what it was. So I'm putting a photo up here on the live stream. Yeah, so let's see here. And I'll make it so that you should be able to see momentarily here. I'll share my screen on Telegram, so you should be able to see that now on Telegram.
I see it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So a few comments regarding AMC short float fiasco. First of all, we never reported short interest float. Oh, that's right. So Reddit was swearing up and down that they saw 40% on Fintel. There were screenshots supposedly of it, but then Fintel said we never reported short float of 40%. They said it was 18.84 all day. There is a screen cap circulating. It shows 40, but it is a photoshopped fake. So.
Oh, it's Photoshop.
Yeah. So. Yeah. All right. And then Trey, I guess. Yeah. I'm trying to go back to Twitter here, but Trey. Apparently, Trey called Ameritrade and they confirmed the 40%.
Didn't he do that with that Astro dude? Weren't they like hanging out?
Probably. Yeah, that.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then there was a period
There's so
where
many of them.
I know there was a period where Astro was like the new whiz kid. You know, he took the scene by storm. He rode in, and then pretty much rode out as quickly as he rode in. You know, it's I mean, I don't know if he's still even talking about this stuff. I haven't seen a video from him in a while. Astro, Jesus Christ. But he's another guy. He did an interview with Jackson Hunter back in the fall when he was popular. I guess he still is streaming. But I mean, his stuff doesn't show up in my when I search for AMC. But
yeah, I never followed Astro. I don't really know much about him.
He's obnoxious. He's one of the most obnoxious ones, just because he's a guitar player. You know, he's a guitar player, so he plays guitar on his stream, and he's got this rock star kind of persona, and he's just he's got long hair, and he's a real hip dude, and no, I mean he's in Florida. He's from Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
so-
first time I saw him was when Matt did that three-way video with him and Trey and Astor. I guess they all had a beef. So that's kind of when I first saw that dude.
Okay. Yeah, he did a live stream with Jackson Hunter. They did an interview, and he said in that interview that he was, he basically like YOLO'd on some calls on GameStop, and they exploded, and he made a lot of money on GameStop, and that was basically the first thing that ever happened. So he got lucky too. So he's another guy who got lucky, and then a few months later, then he was like an expert on this shit, and everybody was listening to him, and his whole thing was the fractals, the fractal theory, or cycles. Like, it's going to repeat the same pattern, like, or the idea that you could take the candles, like the daily candles from a certain period of time, and literally copy that pattern and enlarge it, and that would be, the larger pattern would be a copy of the smaller pattern, kind of thing, like a fractal. But I don't believe in that stuff really, because I don't think that's how it works. I mean, he's very much like into we figured out the algo. We figured out the algo. It's like, no, you didn't. You didn't figure out the algo. Like, that's not really, like, nobody, you're not going to figure out the algo. I mean, I don't know why these guys are, because they want to be able to predict it, but like, none of their predictions are what's happening now. So it's like, clearly they don't know what they're talking about, because none of them said that it was going to do this, So, I mean, but they would probably say, oh yeah, we knew that they would drop it down. We knew that they would, blah, blah, blah. We knew it would go down. And it's it's a dip before the rip. Well, they said that every time, but,
yeah, that's,
I mean, whatever. But Astro's whole thing was that, and then he has a Discord, and his Discord is like, it's wild. Like, he'll have his Discord live chat, like, or live stream, like what we're doing here on Telegram. He has it on Discord, and he has his voice chat patched into his live stream on YouTube, and it's like rowdy, like, and he'll like yell, shut the fuck up, you motherfuckers. Like, he's just obnoxious. He's just really rude, crass guy. It's like really juvenile. It was like, I swear to God, I was listening to like junior high kids, like junior high school students. Like, it was just very, very, really bad. But yeah, and then like everything was all just, they were all just obsessed with like, oh yeah, like we figured out this pattern, and I don't know. Obviously he's not really, I mean, he's still doing it, I guess, but I mean, I'm kind of curious actually, like here, I don't know. He does live streams, and he live streams during the market. I remember one time he was like, he set up a Patreon, I think it was a Patreon, and he was trying to get people to donate money so he could pay his rent. It's like, okay. That tells me everything I need to know right there.
well, so you look at Jackson Hunter, I mean, and not to be a dick about the guy, but he's a musician that lives in a dump in Compton. I mean, why the hell would you take financial advice from a guy like that?
Right. Oh, is that where he lives? He lives in Compton?
I think somewhere, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere down in LA, some neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then like Trey, I remember the first big red flag for him with me was when he said I guess he gambled his whole life savings and he was living in a car. It's like, boy, this guy don't have very good judgment. I mean, he's just a gambler, basically.
Right, and that's what a lot of these people are. Yeah, unfortunately, and it's, yeah. And I've certainly been guilty of that too, before.
Yeah,
but like,
me too.
It always happens because that fear, the fear of missing out. I mean, you alluded to this earlier. That not wanting to miss out And see, for me, I wasn't involved in the GameStop thing at all. Like, I didn't hear about it until after it happened. Like, I wasn't paying attention really. I wasn't actively, that was just last January, I wasn't really trading that much. I didn't have a lot of extra money then, so it was just I wasn't really in tune with things. And I heard about it afterwards. I was like, damn, like that, that's crazy. And then everybody started talking about AMC, and then that's when I was like, okay, well, whatever, I'll buy some calls, whatever. And they exploded. Like, never seen like something go from like $100 to like $6,000, and I had like 5 positions on it. It's like, holy shit. But like,
that day it ran. I was up my yearly salary.
Wow.
That in one day, it was like, holy
yeah.
shit. And then and they were like, oh, this isn't it. This just hold on.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God, I could kill them for that, because for a lot of people, I mean, I see this all the time. I'm trying to understand what's going on. So I read all the posts, like that are on both sides. But so many people are like, man, if I had sold during the high, even at 60 or 70, whatever, that would have been life-changing money for me. That would have been more money than I ever had. And, I say the same thing, because, and if you imagine if you got a year's salary all at once in one day, and that's what happened. And things would have, we wouldn't be here talking about this shit that if people had done that,
Yeah.
And that's exactly the point for those guys, because Trey has been popular now for over a year. He's managed to milk this for over a year. These guys are still talking, and there's the big red flag, one of the big red flags for me, and it goes back to that the Kansas 5 out there around the time of AMC earnings last summer, was when they said, and they all said it, but they said it there at that meeting, and they tried to really stress this. They said, the DD is done. Don't worry about it. The DD is done. Just buy and hold. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Well, no, you never stop trying to, get more information. The DD is never done. And when you say that, you're trying to keep people ignorant. You don't want people to look into things. You don't want people to change from this narrative. And that was one of the big red flags for me. By that point, I already realized that I fucked up by not selling my position on June 3rd. But, it was like, that was like, holy shit, oh God, this is a fucking scam. This is totally a scam. These guys are, like they're saying they've conspired, and now they're all saying the DD is done. And I'm like, the DD is never done, okay? Like, because even beyond it all else, things change. Like, that's how the world is. Things change. It's not always the same as it was before. Like, that's basic. What worked yesterday might not work today, because they're changing. Like, they know what you're thinking, what you're doing, because you're putting it out there. It's all over the place.
They definitely know. I mean,
right. So how is this
every move?
Maybe they caught them. Maybe retail caught them with their pants down in January, and maybe they caught them with their pants down with AMC in June, a little bit, because it obviously that was a huge move. But do you this is what I would always say? Do you think that they're not going to do everything that they can to make sure something like that doesn't happen again? Like, especially when every day this whole group of retail investors is counting on that happening. So why wouldn't they? And I don't even think it. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to know really what happened. Like, because we got that GameStop report, that basically, that said what it said, but they weren't talking about June. So I don't know if it's a similar thing or really what the underlying cause of that was. I think it was largely. I think there was a gamma squeeze for sure, like with the call options on AMC, but I don't know if it, I mean, and there was short covering for sure there because the short interest went way down and the price shot up, and they say shorts haven't covered. It's like, well, okay, but you're looking at Ortex and it shows it went down. What is that? Like, what are you trying to pull here? Shorts haven't covered. But anyway,
Or weren't they saying, well, they were just borrowing shares, not shorting with them? That's a way
Right.
to
yeah,
offer.
yeah. I don't even know. I don't even know if they can do that, because I found out recently that at least like on Interactive Brokers and some of the other brokerages, they don't actually borrow the shares. The shares don't actually get borrowed until, like, if you sell short, like you put in an order to sell short, it still has to go through the settlement, T+2 settlement, and they don't actually borrow the shares until on that second day after. So, in other words, you sell short into the market, and this is for retail. I don't know if it's the same for institutional. I would think it might be, but so what I thought was you borrow the shares first, and then you have them. You actually physically, not physically, but that happens at the front end of the transaction. But what I learned recently was it doesn't. It happens it happens in the settlement process, like 2 days after. That's when the borrowing occurs. So when those Ortex says, borrowed shares, they've already cleared at that point. By the time Ortex knows about it, because they're not borrowed until during that clearing process. So that changes the timeline a little bit of how relevant Ortex data is, because it's not telling you literally that day. Nothing on there is live. Nothing on Ortex applies to that day at all. Really. Like, because borrowed shares have already, they've already been gone through settlement, and then return shares also take 2 days to settle, and then they get reported to Ortex. So that shit is automatically 2 days out of date already. So, but I remember when they said that
listening
stuff.
to those assholes, you would never know that.
No, you never would. And even Ortex says that. Like, I forget, might have been on Twitter, might have been on Ortex website, because I try to understand, how does this work? What exactly are they saying? What does this information mean? Because I want to know, because I don't think that these guys are representing it properly. And it turns out, yeah, they didn't. I think it was on Twitter, Ortex clarified some of this stuff, but that also is another strike against Ortex, because it is misleading. It says live update. How would you know that? But yeah, so I remember when they would say that stuff. Oh, they just borrowed shares, but they didn't short them. But at least for retail, they don't get borrowed until the end of, that's the last thing that happens, really. Like, the last thing that happens before they get sent to whoever bought them. So, so retail literally can't just borrow shares and hold them in their account, which makes no sense anyway. Why would you pay an interest rate? I always say that, like, I'm going to borrow $100,000 and just put it in my account and let it sit there, and I'll pay interest on it so I can feel rich for a day or for, a month. That makes no sense. You wouldn't do that. It's, it's not a thing that people do. Now, maybe you could borrow money and, not have spent it yet, but it wouldn't work that way. It would be like a line of credit or something. You wouldn't take out a lump sum at one time like that. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's they misrepresented that stuff so much, and they still do. Shorts haven't covered. Oh, short interest is blah blah blah.
So, do they still think these shorts? They still think they have it? I guess shorted from what, $2-3? They don't think they've covered in any of that massive run up.
I don't think so. I don't think they do. I mean, so yeah. So I know for at least at least, yeah, like before when they would talk about this stuff, and I'm pretty sure, like I haven't watched a Short the Vix video in a while because I can't stand the guy. He just annoys me to all hell. But he talks about it a lot. He talks about the shorts haven't covered. I'm going to try to find an Ortex update here. Closing bell update for today. Okay, here we go. So you can look at it. But like my whole thing is, you know, the ape narrative doesn't really, it doesn't understand how institutions trade and how short positions are, you know, different from long positions. So like retail buys and holds, and that's nothing. They just think of, you know, that's what we do. We buy and hold until the price goes up or it squeezes. But, you know, a short position is going to be a shorter term. I mean, I realize it's short, but you know, it's not held for the same amount of time because, you know, you have a lot of risk. If it shoots up, you have an unlimited loss, you know, so that makes it more of a, you know, a shorter term time frame that it's going to be held, you know. So in other words, no, nobody would hold if somebody sold short at $10 and it shot up to $72, they would have been long gone out of that position. No question. They would have been long gone. And it would have been before that, because they have separate risk assessment departments in these institutions. So you think that they would really allow that to happen, you know, and still live to fight another day? Makes no sense. None whatsoever. So
yeah, but that's the message they're giving.
That's the message
at least
they're
that's
giving.
how I interpret it.
Yeah, and Manuel says apes think the shorts created millions of synthetic shares that are sold short to keep the price down, and that's pretty much that's the perfect summary of it, because, you know, forget Ortex for a minute. They think that, you know, shorts and what does that even really mean? There isn't just one institution, one hedge fund shorting any stock. It's a number of people. So Citadel, well, okay, Citadel has a hedge fund, but they also are a market maker, and those are, as much as, you know, the apes want to, you know, think, those are two separate operations. Now, yeah, they're both owned by the same guy and all this, you know, but they don't, you know, in theory, they're not the same entity. They're not even run by the same people. So the hedge fund has you know, the hedge fund is whatever. Citadel Securities, the market maker, you know, there's a team that runs that. Ken Griffin he's not involved in the day-to-day of that stuff, you know, and then the algorithms and, you know, all the HFT, you know, models and stuff like that. They hire the smartest people with PhDs in quantitative sciences, you know, to handle that shit. And because I've watched a lot of interviews with Ken Griffin, so I was trying to understand. I wanted to know more about Ken Griffin, and he's really actually a fascinating guy. If you can look past, you know, everything that we've been told about him. And I'm not saying he's a great guy and I would go have a beer with him. I probably would, actually. But, you know, but there's a lot to learn from people like that, you know, because he's wildly successful and he's done a lot of interesting things to get to that point. But anyway, I got to be careful when I talk about, you know, Ken Griffin, because then people are like, oh, see, you're buddies with Ken Griffin, you know, you're one of his, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not, but, you know, whatever. Yeah, so they think that, let's just simplify it even more. They think that Ken Griffin or Citadel created millions of synthetic shares that are sold short to keep the price down. So, I mean, like, I don't even know where to start. Like, Citadel the hedge fund or Citadel the market maker? That's the first thing. Or do you just think they're the same, just Ken Griffin in general? But what is a synthetic share? I want to know what a synthetic share. I want to ask Lou. Lou versus Wall Street is the one, as far as I know, who started talking about synthetic shares. Like, what is a synthetic share? I don't know what a synthetic share is. I've never heard of it before this. I don't think anybody has. There's synthetic positions, which is options. Those you can set up an option strategy that, you know, it basically is the same as buying or it's the same as buying 100 shares of stock. So it has the same profit loss graph as 100 shares of stock, and it's a synthetic long position, but it's only consists of options. It's not actually shares. Like, there's a long synthetic future is what they call it on here.
Well, even when that scumbag who was interviewing, he was doing that secret interview with that. You just had the video on the other day. John Wick Sniping, that's his name.
Oh yeah,
the guy he was talking to didn't know what a synthetic share was.
Right, because it's not. It doesn't. It's not really a thing that exists. But so let me put it in here. But so this is but this is not what they're talking about. This is actually like a strategy, that's real. So you could buy a call and sell a put at the money. So $15 for AMC, and this, so you're buying an option and selling an option, and it's going to cost you $39. You need to have $1,500 of collateral, and it's an infinite profit. So so basically, if the AMC were to go up, to it's at 15 now, let's go up to 20. You're going to make about $500. It's the same, $5 a share. It's the same profit loss as owning 100 shares. But again, this is two options, two option contracts. You're not going to exercise them. You're never going to own the shares. You're only going to own options. And that would be, synthetic. They call it a long synthetic future, long, synthetic positions, and, whatever. Or you can have the opposite of that. You can have a synthetic short future, which is the opposite. You buy a put and sell a call, and it's like shorting 100 shares of stock. But again, there's no shares of involved. It's two option contracts. So that's the only thing that I had ever heard of that was synthetic. Now I think they're talking about the idea of naked shorting. So the hedge funds are just literally, it would be like creating counterfeit money. That's what they're saying. As far as I can tell, they're saying they think that somehow the hedge funds, the institutions, the funds, whoever, the short hedge funds are literally, printing, quote unquote, even though there's no paper shares, but they're naked short. They're just selling something that they don't have and that they don't borrow, and then when somehow they're able to do that, even though it's illegal, somehow these short hedge funds are able to sell a counterfeit share, let's call it that, into the market. And then that would mean that somebody, then some retail investor who's buying a share, they're going to be buying some of the shares that people are shorting, because that's supply coming in. So then that means that people are holding these synthetic shares or counterfeit shares, but also the DTCC and the NSCC and the market itself, or either the exchange or wherever they trade, they also process these counterfeit shares, and they don't know, or they don't care, or whatever. It's not an issue somehow. And it makes no sense, because at some point along the way, isn't there, I don't even know. I don't even think it can happen. I don't even think it's possible, because how do they, the shares are registered with the SEC. Like, the SEC and the market, they know how many shares there are. Like, they can't just keep, I don't even think there's a way. I don't even know. But I'm not an institutional trader. I'm not an institutional investor. I don't know what their software, what their screens look like. Like I know what mine looks like, and there's no way to do that. So, and I've been told by some hedge fund people that they also can't do it. Like there's literally no way, like the way their system is set up, they can't do it. Just like we can't do. But anyway, so that must be what they're saying. But really, I mean, it's just beyond delusional at this point. Like the hedge fund manual is saying that they think the hedge funds think DTCC is complicit. So, and that they believe that one way to expose, or the only way to expose synthetics, is to pay a dividend or force a split. Apes believe there are billions of shares, most of them synthetics.
And then Lou says, well, you'll be okay, though, if you own synthetic shares.
I don't understand how that's possible then. Like, how does that work? Like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Like, because, here's the other thing, too. Short selling, it's selling. And on the other side of a sale is a buyer. So, like, even when short selling happens, that's why they say short selling doesn't negatively affect the price, because at the end of the day, it's actually adding supply into the market. Like, because they're selling, there's more, so that selling is going to be bought. So, there's actually research that says that short selling does not push the price down in most cases. It actually doesn't. So that's counter to what the apes believe. They, it's like they're shorting it down. They're short ladder attacks, all this stuff.
Yeah.
It really doesn't exist. It's not real. It's not real. Now, there could be a lot of selling. There could be just a lot of selling, and that is going to make the price go down, like selling without, commensurate buying on the other side. So the market maker is just having to absorb it, the stock, and it pushes the, so obviously the price is affected by that, but they see like a bunch of red candles like going down at a 45-degree angle, and it's like, oh, look, that's a short ladder attack. And it's like, well, what does that mean though? Like, what actually is that? I know I've had institutional investors too say I don't know what a short ladder attack is. That's not really a thing. But whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's just that, somebody's buying those shares too. Like somebody is short selling. On the other side, there's going to be buying. There's plenty of buying demand on this stock. So that's what the squeeze metrics thing I was looking at in the video yesterday was talking about. The article is called "Short is Long," and it's basically their whole thesis is that all this, most of the short volume is actually long. It's marked short because of the way that these market makers do it, because it's easier and it's less risk for them to just go ahead and sell it to you without having it yet, and then they go buy it later. And so that's why it's short. They're selling it to you short, but it's actually not creating a short position. And that's the distinction. It doesn't result in a short position. It results in a long position with a retail investor. So it's like flip the script on this stuff, but you have to think about it though. Like it's not just as simple as, the 2 or 3 inputs. There's a lot of different factors here, that go into this. I think the apes have a very basic idea of how this works, and they don't, it's like, like the basic, like if somebody were to draw, and Trey does this too, he draws on his whiteboard, like a basic like diagram of like how the stock market works or how, short selling works. But it never went beyond that. Like they never, because they were told, oh, this is what it is. The DD is done. Here, this is, and nobody was really trying to push forward and, either learn more about it or like, question it to try, not because they didn't believe it, but because, as a scientific method of like, okay, this is what I think, but I'm going to look at all the reasons why it might not be true. And in that process, you learn stuff, and you get smarter and you refine the truth. They never did that. So all they think is, yeah, they're all these synthetic shares and, and it's shorting the stock down. And it's like, well, actually, no. and I get called hedgy for talking about this stuff. And probably you too, Martin, now at this point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you'd go on Reddit and you'd post, oh, I think AMC is going to go to 500. I go, oh, that could be realistic. Oh, you're a hedgy. You're a shill. That's FUD. It's going to go to 10,000 a share.
Oh, man. 10,000. That's low. That's paper-handed.
Yeah.
10,000. Holy shit. No, I mean, it's like 500,000. Oh, what I see on Reddit recently, it was like, they're increasing it by 100,000 every month that it doesn't squeeze. So I think it's 1.6 million now per share in February, they were saying. I mean, it's just like, how delusional can you get? How greedy? Like, I mean, they think the hedge funds are greedy. It's like, you're saying that you want to be paid like trillions of dollars? Like, what? No,
and
I'm sorry.
The economy.
Right. And that's what was it? Did you ever see any of that stuff with Dr. Marco Metzler? That guy, that German guy?
I was listening to one of your videos when he was talking to, I guess, was it Boss Blunts?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I don't know really anything about him. And then I know that Tony Gennaro was like trying to interview him or something. But
he was trying to. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the guy. He sounds like, I don't know. There's something not right there. Like, something's not right with him. Like, not saying he's mentally ill or anything, but he's like, he's involved with like the IMF's Great Reset agenda, essentially. That's what I've come to realize. Because he was talking about in the video that I looked at on the live, I think it was live stream, where he was talking about the system's going to crash, and we need to come up with something new. We need to come up with a new system, and I'm going to be involved in doing that to make it better. And I thought, wow, that sounds a lot like the Great Reset agenda narrative that was going around last year or whatever, and put out by the IMF. The International Monetary Fund, and they were talking about basically just putting a happier face on capitalism. I think I'm not even really sure I didn't listen to any of their propaganda, but so he's connected. That's the point. He is very connected to like the international monetary system. So that's a red flag for me that he's in those circles. And I don't think that he is, like, whenever anybody's telling me, oh, this is the first domino to fall, he kept saying that, this is the first domino to fall, Evergrande. He was talking about Evergrande. He's fanatical about Evergrande, and that's going to be the first, domino to fall in the massive, global market crash, like 2008, but worse. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But when I just feel like when somebody is so, almost like the apes, they're so, dead set on what's going to happen, that's a red flag for me, because I know, like, experts don't, like, people who are genuine and they're genuinely experts and they're like curious, intellectually curious, they don't speak in such strong certainties a lot of the time. Like they talk about what could happen. They talk about what the conditions might suggest. But they don't talk about this is going to happen and it is going to be, and sensationalize it like that. So there's something weird there. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just generalizing or getting just a bad vibe or something. But I don't think that he is. I think Boss Blunts and the Apes are being played by him. Let me put it that way. I think he's playing them somehow. He's running some kind of game. I don't know. I can't. I'm gonna have to watch more of his. I think Boss Blunts did another interview with him last night, Thursday night. So I might have to look at that at some point. But I don't know. Something's not right there, though.
Yeah, if he's connected with all
so he's connected.
People, they're not going to help the Apes.
Well, right. That's exactly the thing. Here's a guy who's basically a member of the financial elite, essentially. And he's, on one hand, he's saying, the market's going to crash. On the other hand, he's saying AMC and GameStop are the only way, the best hedge against a crash. That makes no sense. I don't know. I guess because the hedge funds are tied up and the liquidity's tied up in Evergrande and all this stuff, but I don't know. I think it's just honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that sensationalism is typical, just when Jim Cramer says to sell something, and the opposite happens. Well, they were hoping that you did what he said, because if you did that, you would have lost money and they would have made money. That's what typically happens with that shit. Analysts are almost always wrong, and if you listen to analysts, you'll get the wrong idea a lot of the time. So it's like when Jim Cramer said to buy Bear Stearns, and then it literally blew up the next day. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't know. It's so much of this, and that's the thing that it's almost more important than technical analysis and all of that stuff. Indicators and Trey likes to talk about technical analysis and yada yada yada, but the psychological component is so important. It really is everything. And yeah, you can look at it with lines and you can draw lines and flags and triangles and all that shit, and you can have moving averages and whatever else. But at the end of the day, there's that human psychological component. And going back to what you said about the fear of missing out, and that not wanting to miss out, and that being a strong motivator, either way, to make money or to not lose money, is it's almost like, I think I would liken it to like a dopamine hit, or being on being in love or something like that. One of these really strong feelings that's like a very fundamental human emotion that's so hard to resist that it's almost it's very deceptive and sneaky to play on that, because it's like you're being manipulated essentially. It's like somebody's cheating on you and they're gaslighting you about something or lying or whatever. It's that kind of thing to me. Which is why, big reason why, I'm sitting here on a Friday night talking about this shit, because it's so fucked up at the end of the day. It doesn't make.
Yeah, a lot of people they're gonna get hurt. It's a lot of the Apes. I think this is kind of the last thing they got in their lives. If this doesn't turn out well.
Yeah.
It could get ugly.
It really
It'd be a
could.
life or death type of thing for some of these people.
I think so. And I've kind of, I've kind of shied away from talking about that a lot. But I mean, I think I think that's right. Like, I mean, what I did say, what I have talked about before was, if there is a massive short squeeze, like the MOAS, like they talk about, like in that case, you're going to have, one thing I said, you're going to have a lot of people, a lot of pedestrians, like on sidewalks, that are going to be hit by cars, specifically Lambos, because a lot of these people, they have no idea how to drive a car like that. So you're going to have a lot of accidents from that. You're going to have a lot more drug overdoses. You're going to have overdoses on everything, because, hey, unlimited money. I can get as much Coke as I want, or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever your drug of choice is. And so it's kind of like lottery winners syndrome, where, a lot of lottery winners, like of high prizes, end up either penniless or dead, or something tragic happens. It usually doesn't end up well a lot of the time, because, and it makes sense, right? Because you're being thrown into something that you are not prepared for at all. You don't know how to deal with that. So you're just going to go crazy. You're like a kid in a candy store, but you're like an adult, in Vegas or something. I don't know. You're an adult and, just, you can do whatever you want. So a lot of these people wouldn't be able to handle it. But on the flip side of that,
Well, yeah, I mean, you even see it with like athletes and stuff.
Yes, exactly. That's a good point. Athletes, celebrities in general, Hollywood, musicians, all that kind of thing. A lot of times they're not prepared for it, especially when they're thrust into it very quickly. Like, they didn't work. If you have a long career and you gradually get to that point, you're probably going to be more responsible. Whereas if you're just like a child actor or something who's just thrown into that world, you end up like Corey Feldman or something, but,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing against him. And, you can obviously come back from it, but a lot of people don't. On the other side too. Yeah. A lot of people I remember seeing posts like, and this happened a lot, comments on Lou versus Wall Street videos where people would say, I put my kid's college fund into AMC, shit like that. I took my retirement out and, put it in that, my 401k, I cashed it in, all this stuff like that. Like, just very irresponsible things. And who knows if they were telling it, but I know just a law of averages says, yeah, some people did. Some people did make financially irresponsible decisions because that fear of missing out was too strong, or they were just under the spell of whatever, that to get rich quick. And that's what it is at the end of the day. It's a get rich quick scheme. But those don't end well usually.
No. Yeah,
But
I mean, that was the big reason why, when I made all that money that one day, I didn't want to sell it and then wake up the next morning and it's a $250.
Right.
Like,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't say I guess I was greedy, but it wasn't. It was more just the fear of missing out, And then that Tesla deal, it's like, I know what that feeling's like, and it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't want that to happen again.
And that's a typical thing, and it goes back to that psychological thing, because how many times have you, and this is a question for everybody, rhetorical question, how many times have you bought a position, and immediately it went the other way, and the worst is when you are trying to day trade and you have a small account and you literally can't get out of the position because you can't day trade. So you run out of day trades. You've already traded 3 times in your 5-day period, and you are stuck in something that is just bleeding, onto the floor. And, that's by design why they limit retail investors with small accounts, because they say it's for your protection, but I think it's really for their protection, because if you could actually trade, then you could get out of positions, you could make a lot of money. But it's a typical thing, right? Like it's because everything is delayed, because the price starts to shoot up, and retail investors are slow to the punch, so they buy in and they tend to buy towards the top, and then of course everything that goes up must come down, so then it goes down, and then they lose money, and that's the typical pattern of retail investing or trading, is buying close to the top. And a lot of people did that here. A lot of people did that. Not everybody, but I mean, I looked at the volume on, I think it was on Schwab, the Schwab platform, and they'll show you the buying and selling volume separately at a specific price level. So you could see that there was a lot more buying at the top in the 60s and 70s that day, in that time around June 3rd. There was actually more buying at the top than selling. I mean, of course, there was some selling, but more people, because they thought it was going to continue to go up, because that's what they were told. And those people are the people I feel the worst for, because they're holding the biggest loss right now. 70, 65 to 15, 50, look, talking about $50 per share that they've lost. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I guess maybe the only silver lining would be, maybe, I don't know if you could generalize, maybe the people that bought a lot of shares at the top were already well off. They had a lot of money to start with, so maybe it's not as much of an impact. But I know a lot of people put everything they had into it, and so I don't know. I mean, it seems like smart money, like people who were informed about it, would have bought low. They wouldn't have bought high. They would have bought it at before that happened, or they would have waited, and seen what happened, and not jumped in like panic buying because they don't want to miss out. But that's, those are all just those psychological tricks, psychological aspects we're talking about here of price, and I don't know. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's a hard, like that shit happens to me all the time still. Like I'm late to the party, and I get there, and then it's like, then the party's gone, the party's over, and now I'm late to the next one, and I don't know. It's just
yeah, this is one of the few cases I was actually early to the party.
Yeah, right. Yep. Yeah, I mean, right. I was too, because I had, I bought 5 calls, I think at the $40 strike price for June 18th. And those were the ones that were just, I mean, there were so many people. There were hundreds of thousands of these things. There were so many of them, and the price went to, way past 40, and these things just exploded. I mean, they totally exploded. I've never had any positions ever, run up that much. And so I really didn't know, like, obviously now thinking about it, it's like, shit, I should have closed that shit immediately. I should have closed, there's no question about it now. And I just want to say this too, because I know I asked you, you were in the market before all this stuff, and I was too, and even before this happened, I never would have let that sit there and not take the profit. Like, that's not how I trade. It's not how I do it typically. Like before, I try to hit 15-20% profit and close it and take it. Like, that's part of what, that's what I typically do. But this was, it was a different thing. I also normally didn't listen to other people. I don't normally didn't listen to people because I don't trust people. I don't, like, I know there's a lot of idiots out there, like I don't, especially when it comes to spending my money. I might listen to it, but I'm not going to, like, I'm going to do my own research. And this was kind of like, okay, I'll just roll the dice, what the hell. It happened with GameStop. It can happen with the, and so the fact that it did happen was like, oh shit, these guys know it, they're on to something here. I better hang on, and of course.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I mean, I figured the next day after that run, I figured we'd be breaking $100. Obviously that wasn't the case, but
yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense that it would. I mean, it very well could have, but I mean, should it really though? I mean, I don't know. You have to believe in synthetic shares. You have to believe in this massive short interest that's beyond what's reported. And I just don't think that there's, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to believe that. You got to have evidence. I mean, I don't, like, for where I'm coming from, it's like you have to, there's got to be something that like some kind of proof, some kind of.
Especially you would want the proof, especially if you got your whole fucking life in it,
Right.
I mean, you're gonna just blindly throw everything you've worked for into something and not have solid proof of these. Crazy theories, and
it doesn't make sense.
I guess people get blinded by it.
They do, especially if they've never been in the market before. You got a lot of new people, new investors, and that's, like I said, you got to be prepared to lose because you're going to lose, and what can I say? When I first started trading options, it was a bloodbath. I didn't know what I was doing really. I tried, I got pretty decent. I mean, but I obviously still lose money all the time. But I mean, like I'm more discerning and, whatever. But like if I got discouraged and whatever, and or defiant and was like, no, I'm not, every time I lost money, like, oh, I'm not closing it, I'm right, I would lose all my money every time. Like, that's not how it is. Like, you have to be open to saying, all right, you know what, I fucked up. Like, shit, I fucked up. Oh shit, I fucked up. I gotta, let me just get out of this and and regroup, and try something different. But these people aren't going to do that. So you got to let new investors who've never had this happen before, or they got in after the run up too, after that $72 run up, which, at least we were involved then, to experience that. But if you saw that happening from the sidelines, imagine that fear of missing out that you would feel, like, oh shit, like, oh man, I got to get in on this. And then it literally just bleeds out over the next 6 months. I mean, I don't know. Like, I would like to talk to these influencers, that's pretty shitty. It's pretty shitty. And if you don't know what you're talking about, if you can't prove it somehow, then why are you saying it? Why is it, how is that okay? Just from a human decency standpoint, like,
yeah,
why are you misleading people so you can get your free stocks on Webull and you can get your YouTube ad revenue? You're no better than the hedge funds. I would say they're worse than the hedge funds.
I agree with that 100%.
I don't think, I don't give a fuck about hedge funds. What do I care? Wall Street is scumbags. They cheat and lie and steal. Yes, fine. But what the hell are you going to do about it? Nothing. So these guys, though, they're like, they're closer to us. They're pretending to be retail investors who are putting out information for other retail investors. And It's some of the most misinformation that you could get, and it's being presented though as like, oh yeah, we're all together on this side. It's despicable, really.
And then they don't even show their positions. It's like
True.
It's
Yeah.
like, I think Trey. I guess he used to, but I don't think he's shown. I guess he claimed he bought $100,000 worth of AMC, but did he ever show any proof?
No, he said, and he said he was going to buy $100,000 worth. So he put the video out before he did it. He said today I'm going to be buying, and that's what he said. That's how he phrased it. It's like, oh, okay. All right. If you say so,
And then if you question it, well, they don't have to show you or blah blah blah. And I guess technically they don't. But...
No, they don't. And I don't show. I don't show any of my positions. I don't show my brokerage accounts. Because first of all, I don't want anybody to like do what I do, because I don't want that. I don't talk about. I don't say, oh yeah, this would be a good thing to buy, or like I don't do that. And I don't think it's really relevant because, this is not what this channel is. But now, what's his name here? Chilo31416 asks what was my entry. So I'm actually looking that up right now because I forget. Let's see. Let's see here. Wow. I can't find it. These are just shares.
I'm curious, though, once it all ends and the dust settles, if any of these guys will be investigated, or I think it should be.
Question.
But
it's a good question. Well, it's not. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I'm just looking on my mobile app here, but I'll have to look into that. But it was at the end of May. So when I bought into AMC with call options, so it was back in this area. It was back in the, I want to say it was double digits. It was maybe it was under $20 maybe, and I bought the $40 calls. So it was whenever the $40 calls were available. So it must have been right at the end of May, right in this area right here, because they didn't add those $40 calls until the end of May. So for June, so it was in this area right here, where those two lines intersect. I want to say, so right around $20, and I think it was around. I think these things were around $100 per contract. Maybe I bought 5, and like over the next couple days before that big run up, like I was up a lot already, and I sold one of the contracts, and that covered the cost of all 5 contracts. Like, so I was at that point. I was back. I was even, and anything would have been just pure profit. My costs had been covered, and then of course the run-up happened, and I just sat there on my hands like, oh yeah, well it's gonna keep going up. Man,
same thing.
My girlfriend, I told her she doesn't know anything about.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I told my girlfriend, because she doesn't know anything about finance or stock market or anything. I told her like how bad I fucked up then, and I told her, because I was like. I told her I was going to buy her a car, and like we were going to do all this stuff, and then I couldn't do it. So it was like I told her that, and I was like, you have to like never let me forget like what happened then. Like don't ever let that, because like I mean, and she could tell like I was really really down, like in poor spirits. Oh man. Anyway, yeah. I'm sorry. What were you going to ask?
Man.
Yeah.
What options did Trey buy when he made his million?
I don't know. I don't think he showed them. I don't think. I mean, because I didn't even know. I didn't even know that I saw like that. I didn't even watch the video, but I saw like, I remember seeing the video. It was Trey on Benzinga. He was on Benzinga. And it was like, there was a video. Here it is. Yeah, it was this right here. This top one. It was, I'm just going to look at it here. Let's see. August 26th, that's when this interview was. But I'm pretty sure this is the one. Yeah, Trey's Trades, AMC Option Trading. So yeah, I don't think he shows. He doesn't go. I don't think they go into that detail.
Did Matt do the same thing, or I don't?
I'm not sure.
Or did he just make most of his money on YouTube? I guess.
I think both of them did, but I don't know. I remember. I watched Matt Kors trade some AMC options one time on his live stream, and he lost money. So I forget. I don't know. I think he was counting on it. You know, price shooting up, obviously, and it didn't.
Where the big thing was when they released the 145s.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was like,
"Oh yeah,
put that out."
That was the end.
It's going there, and I think that was a big reason why it did stay in.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. I think that was the beginning of the end, and I think that was a brilliant move on the market maker's part, because they knew that everybody thought it was going to keep running up, so they added those strikes, the 145 and all the way up to 145, and they're like. In January, there were over 200,000 on the, what was it, the, whatever the monthly expiration, I think it was the 21st, or no, whatever it was, January,
yeah, I think
whatever, the third week, it were over 200,000 of them that were open interest on that day. I mean, and that's going back a year, people were buying those things. I mean, and those things were expensive, like, they were expensive last year, like those calls. I mean, they're talking about like $2,000 per contract. You know, when they first came out, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that was a lot of money that people just threw away. Still Pants in the chats here. Still Paints. That makes more sense than Still Pants. Still, like. Yeah, I was lucky enough to day trade AMC for more shares after the run-up, so by the time it got back to $25, I was still up 60%. Done with that dumpster fire for good now. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I own one share just to track it. I think I'm down like 30 or 40% on it.
Yeah. I was buying, I traded puts, actually, last fall. When it was going down, and I traded puts. One time I bought a call and a put, and this was in my Webull account, because I've got accounts everywhere. You know, I've got like 8 brokerage accounts or something. I mean, not that I use them all, but I just, I have all the platforms. I like to have, different options available. I like certain things on certain platforms more than others, so. But I just happen to have some money in Webull, and I really don't like Webull. I don't like their platform at all, but, it was there, so I bought a call and a put, and I honestly forgot about it. This was over the summer sometime, like maybe August or September, and I just bought, I think they were maybe around $100 a piece for each contract or something like that, and I forgot about him. So I don't always log into that account, and I forgot about it. And there was a big move in AMC, like one of those random times when it went up, or down. I think it went up at the time. But it was one of those random times when it had a little bit of oomph to it. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, remembered, oh shit, I have those positions at Webull. Fuck. I wonder what happened. So went in, I logged in, and like, of course, the put was like, in the toilet. But the call was up almost $700 or something like that. It's like, holy shit, that's awesome. So I closed that shit right away. I was like, I'm done with this. Like, give me that money. And so I did that, and then after that, I was just pretty much trading puts on it. Made a little bit of money, but then I lost money. Like, of course, everything works until it doesn't work. So it worked for a while, and then it stopped working. So I was like, okay, I'm done with this. But was also the I don't know if you trade options at all. Do you trade options or?
I don't know.
Okay.
I've never done
Okay.
that.
Yeah, but the it was just that the options were like really expensive, like for what they were, and they got less expensive as the year kind of went on. But also that means that if you had bought them when they were expensive and they got less expensive, that means you lost money. So that really killed a lot of the long-term option holders, like for those 145s for January and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, and I my old channel, the first channel, I did a lot more. I did some in-depth things on options, like talking about just different aspects of it, relative, like to try to help people understand and stop wasting money. But honestly, that whole time I had that channel, I wasn't really live streaming. I was only doing videos that I edited, recorded and edited, and that takes so long. It really is a long, like it's really a time consuming process. Like, and I had a lot of time because I was unemployed then, because I was out of work. So it was okay. I could spend 6 hours on a video and it was like no big deal. But I went back to work in October, and then all of a sudden now, like, I don't have time to spend like 3 hours editing a video. So I started live streaming, and I actually started live streaming on the old channel too, but it was just, once I went back to work, it was like, holy shit, this is, I can't stay up until 2 o'clock editing a video. 2 a.m. I can't do that. Like, I gotta get up at 5, like, so I started live streaming more. And it's a different thing. Like, I like having these conversations with people. I like involving. That's what I wanted it to be. That's why I did Telegram thing, and all that. So if anybody wants to jump in, I'll just put out the PSA. You can join the Telegram chat. The link's on the screen in the description there, and join the voice channel and come in here and talk. So that's why I want people to do that. So I appreciate you being here, Martin. I know that we've talked. You've been on the channel for a while, and wanting to, we talked about you coming in here. So I'm glad it finally happened. I wasn't sure if you would make it. Maybe you had to drop out for a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah,
still.
Thank you for having me. It's cool. I'm glad we had a discussion. It's I still follow it. I mean, I only own one share, but I still watch a lot of the videos, and it's just interesting to see what the new theories are. And
mm-hmm. Yeah, and right, and it's a really interesting, like, I like people watching anyway. Like, that's, I like that. I'm very easily amused, and I notice details. I like, and I like to analyze things. And this is a gold mine for that, like, just human behavior, psychology. Is like, it's really interesting what's happening with this. And I'm interested in cults. Like, that's, I've watched a lot of video, a lot of stuff about Scientology, and stuff like that. So,
well, there's a lot of similarities. I mean,
there really are. I mean, I don't know if you saw the video. I think we were doing it on the live stream. We looked at it was a book about cults, and I mean, literally, we went down this list, and everything, it hit everything that fit right into this ape narrative, like reframing, reframing reality and getting people to, think a certain way, and changing the orientation of time, and like saying that, you're going to have this big event, whether it's Jesus coming back and knocking on your door, or, the end of the world, or the short squeeze, or whatever. Like, there's always a big event that happens, and it's just like everything lined up really well with what this is. But instead of there being like one cult leader, like David Koresh or Jim Jones or whoever, it's like it's like inverted. Like, instead of there being one leader and a lot of followers, it's like there's still a lot of followers, but there's also a lot of leaders, because all the people on Reddit, all the influencers. So it's decentralized. Maybe, I mean, it's like crypto. It's like the blockchain of cults.
Yeah.
Because it self-reinforcing. Like, you go on Reddit, and it's some scary shit that you see on there. Like, I know people are silly on Reddit, and you can't take it all at face value, but there's a lot of people, you can tell they're serious, and they're like, it's really out there, really out there. Like, like that, adding $100,000 every month. Okay, where in the hell do you get that from? Like, I don't know.
I wonder if they deep down really believe it. It's just, I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, do people really think it's going to go to $1 million or whatever?
I don't know. I mean,
even when I was in it, I knew that was never going to happen. I mean, I thought 500 would be
right. Yeah.
Possible, but not 500,000.
Right, exactly. Like, I have a document here on my computer. It was a spreadsheet that I made back then, and it was like probably in June, right after the run-up. Was like, and I looked at what would it take. Like, okay, if the price went to $100, what would my position be worth? And if it went to $200, what would it be worth? And if I went to 500, and I made a little spreadsheet, and I didn't get anywhere close to like 10,000 or anything like that. It was just like, or 500,000. It was like, $500 a share would have been a lot. That would have been a lot. But, yeah, I didn't think it was going to go to $1 million per share either. But
do you think it'll have another run?
I don't know.
Not in the 70s. But...
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know. I didn't really know what was going to happen back when it ran up before. I was just really just like kind of placing a bet, but I think what caused it to run up before was a lot of it was all the volume that was there. So now we don't have that volume, and I don't think we will, because you don't have the same stimulus, you don't have the same unemployment, everything's different than it was 8 months ago, whatever. And I think that I think that retail did have a hand in making that happen, and I don't think that, I don't think it could. I'm not saying that the price won't go up or down. I mean, it obviously is going to at some point go up or down, and it will probably go up at some point. But I don't think we're going to see this type of volatility that we saw before. Let me say it that way, because and that's the thing. That's how I feel about GameStop as well, is that what happened was a product of that time. It was, the conditions were right then for that to happen. It couldn't have happened any other time. It couldn't have happened a year before. It couldn't happen this January. It was the time was right then because of everything, and it wasn't just one factor. It was even, you can see that in the GameStop SEC report, was that there were a lot of things that happened. So, and I feel the same way about AMC with respect to June. So yeah, I don't think because, like we were kind of talking about before, shorts haven't covered. Well, what they're doing is they're not just adding. They like to say they're piling on. Shorts are piling on. They keep adding more short positions. Well, yeah, they keep adding different short. They're closing some, and other people, whether, I don't know if they're the same people or other people, who knows? We don't know. But some shorts are covering and closing their positions, and then other short positions are being established. So you see shares returned and shares borrowed in the same day. So that's telling you that there's covering happening and there's shorting happening, at basically the same time. So shorts haven't covered is false, and it's staying around 20% short interest. So, I mean, and there's never been any rule, there's never been any reason why all the shorts would have to cover at one time. And if you think about it, that's the underlying message. That's the unsaid, the unspoken part of this narrative, is they expect all the shorts to cover at once. But realistically, why would that happen? Because every ape bought their long positions at different times. They're not all going to sell at the same time? Why would short sellers buy back at the same time? It doesn't make any sense, especially when there's a number of different institutions that or funds or players that are doing it. So if you look at it that way, this is going to continue like this indefinitely, because that's how it is. Go to any stock, there's short interest. Any stock, whether, I don't care how popular it is. Apple has short interest. Tesla obviously does. But the most popular stocks, Amazon, whatever, doesn't matter, has short interest. So maybe 20% is relatively high, maybe it's not. But you're going to see short interest on every stock. It's always going to have short interest, and that's just the way it is. And it's never going to be, that could be the baseline, level could be 12% or something, I don't, just making it up, but could be, AMC has a high float, so, relatively high float, over 500 million shares. So 20% short interest is like 150 million shares. So, that could be, that could go on for a long time, because some people are going to close their short positions when they become profitable. So it's all about the individual positions anyway, and all of them are going to be entering and leaving at different times. So it doesn't even make logical sense for it to happen, especially when retail literally can't afford to buy the stock and push the price up massively. That's what would have to happen anyway. The price would have to go up, so the shorts would be squeezed. I don't see that happening. I see the price going down. So that shorts being trapped, give me a break. These guys need to stop saying that. The shorts are trapped. They're hurting. They're gonna, they're feeling the pain. Why? How are they feeling the pain? They want the price to go down. The price has gone down. Makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, how dumb are you assuming that your audience is when you say that shit? Like the shorts are hurting. Oh, they're scared. Oh, they're scared that they're gonna make more money. What the hell? Makes no sense. So, yeah. I mean, I if anybody needs to hear this now, but it's like, you got to question that. Let's see here. Still Paints says, thanks for the channel. One voice of reason to go with the one in my own head that helped me get over the FOMO. Lynn's here. Last year, the lead dog. Scenery never... Lead dog. Lead dog. Lead dog. Scenery never changes. Shiloh says, I bought early, $14, around 2,200 shares. Wow. I did not know options very well, but when Matt started doing daily YOLO option calls around 50 range, I got spooked and sold 80% of my position. Diamond handed the rest until 24. I mean, yes, still made $10 a share. Now that Lynn says now that California is reclaiming stimulus money, there's even less to gamble with out west. So Lynn is
a lot of the apes have to be tapped out.
Oh, they are. They were tapped out last fall. Lynn is from Railvin is from California as well. So she's from Southern California. And Martin here is from North. You call that Northern California or Bay Area?
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
Bay Area.
East.
Gotcha. Have you always lived out there? Are you native Californian?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Grew up here. And
Yeah,
Wow.
I like it. I mean, the weather's great and all that.
Yeah.
The way the state's runs a little is pretty fucked up, but
I mean,
other
so
than that, it's a great place.
yeah. I dig California. I've spent more time in Southern California, in L.A. I've been to San Francisco once, and let's see where. And then I went on like a retreat or like a meetup, and it was in this little town. Over there, I'll have to look it up. It was a very small town on the coast. I can't think of it. It was like 7 years ago or something. It was a while ago. But anyway, yeah. So it's been a little time, but not a lot of time in San Francisco. But yeah, I mean, I really, yeah. I mean, there was a time when I wanted to live in California. And then I grew up, and then I realized how expensive it was. I mean, that's what I mean.
Oh yeah, the gas is $5 something. It's ridiculous. Everything's just gone. Groceries are insane. It's nuts what's happened.
I mean, yeah, and that's even
scary.
That's even the case here in Ohio, and I know it's nowhere near what you're dealing with there. But still, it's still probably proportionally, the same amount, maybe. But like percentage-wise, maybe probably more there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's still more, Yeah, I mean, it's. So you mean you didn't want to vote for Meet Kevin for governor?
No. Stay away from that fucking douchebag. That guy. He's a I can't stand that guy.
I can't stand him either.
That strongman finance. Like you turned me onto that channel.
Yeah,
he's a little much, but
yeah, he's a little obnoxious sometimes. But he's on point. Right, and he's a CPA too. Like so, he at least
right.
Has he has a credentials. Yeah. What's Lynn saying here? Santa Barbara-ish. You don't trust me? No. Well, I'm missing something there. let's see here. Chilo says, do you think a malicious institution could maybe trigger an up move using a hedge fund trading during pre-market, but only after they knock out most of the remaining apes by letting the price fall extremely low? A malicious institution could trigger an up move using hedge fund. Oh, high frequency trading. Sorry, using high frequency trading during pre-market, but only after they knock out most of the remaining apes by letting the price fall extremely low. I mean, maybe. I don't think that. I mean, I don't know. What's a malicious institution? I don't know what you mean. Like, why? What does that mean? And whom are they malicious toward? Because, yeah, what I don't really get that. But I mean, I think he who has the, you got to remember the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. So they can do, if the institutions, as far as I'm concerned, I just tell myself that they can do whatever they want, which is probably true,
Pretty much, yeah.
And it's like you look at any day in the stock market and any stock or in the the S&P 500 or something, and you could see all different patterns. Sometimes like the last couple of days. I mean, this shit's driving me crazy. I mean, you just have this sideways ass day all day today. You have a pop in the you have a pop up either in the pre-market or in the at the market open, and then let's see here, and then I guess it was you had a pop up in the aftermarket yesterday. You had a pretty big move up, and I think that was because of Amazon's earnings. And then it kind of melted up a little bit to the market close, and then it gapped down massively below where the market closed yesterday, and then kind of was like wishy-washy, and then kind of like worked its way up fairly decently throughout the day, and then in the last fucking 15 minutes, it just the bottom dropped out, and it still closed up, but I mean like that's. And then, I don't know. Yeah, it was annoying. Because a lot of the day it was just sideways ass shit, like, just like consolidation type moves. And for option trading, that's just, it's no good. It just kills the premium. It just, like, you'll see it seesaw up and down and be like, it'll go back to where it was, and the option will be worth less. And it's like, oh my god, you're just totally scamming us out of our option premium here.
Yeah.
But anyway, point is, like, you could see any pattern like that. Probably 15 minutes maybe would be a good one to look at. But like you can see it go up in the pre-market and down in the pre-market, or all those different things. So I think I think that anything could happen. Anything could happen. But yeah, it's annoying when they do that stuff in the pre-market and aftermarket. And I try to shy away from saying like they did this, they're gonna do this. Well, who is they? Really? Like, I don't know. That's goes along with the conspiracy thing. Like, oh, they're gonna get, they're watching you. Like, it's kind of a Big Brother thing, like, conspiracy. But, so I tend to say Wall Street. Wall Street's doing this, Wall Street's doing that. To mean the institutions or, institutional investors. Because, the ones who have, because what moves the market ultimately, is going to be capital. So, if you have enough money, you can move it. and also in the pre or post market with less trading happening, it doesn't take as much to do it. So, yeah. I don't think they're going to knock out most of the remaining apes, though. I think that because you got a lot of people. So, first of all, like, they're delusional when they say stuff like retail isn't selling, no apes are selling. Well, I've talked to 3 or 4 people here on my channel who did sell, and I sold. So, like, clearly that's not true. So, if anything is hinging on that being true, you're fucked. Like, because I'm sorry, people are selling, and they should sell, and it's their business, and it's none of yours if they do. So, stop it with the nobody's selling thing, because you can see that they are. But, so that's an assumption that's just thrown out. Got to throw that out the window. That's not true. So,
yes, Jackson Hunter's famous. Ain't nobody selling a thing or whatever stupid thing he says.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right. And I see it on Reddit, all over Reddit. So but now, having said that, there are some people who I believe that they will hold it until this thing hits the floor, and not the $1.6 million floor, the zero, the bag holding floor. Like, I think there are some people who definitely will not sell their shares. So,
definitely.
You got to everything in between. Everybody's got, their personal threshold of pain, I guess. But yeah, I mean, if it depends on that. So, and you said most of the remaining apes. And so the people that are going to be left after that will be the hardcore, Redditors and, the hardcore apes, the ones who will hold to zero. And then at that point, I don't know. I don't know what happens then. I think it just becomes, basically another stock for a company that's, heavily in debt. I mean, I just wonder how long. I mean, when will we see, and not if will we see, but when will we see this thing under $10? I mean, I think it's clear it's probably coming.
I'd say sometime this month, I would think.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be really interesting because, like I said, I think there will be some people that will probably use that as an opportunity to buy that dip. But I mean, I don't think there's any way. It's just, you're not going to have hundreds of millions of shares traded in a day anymore. Like, the volume was 32 million today. Like, 32 million when that's extremely low compared to like what it was, even like in July and August of last year, like in September even. I mean, there were literally 1.2 billion shares traded in AMC on January 27th. 1.25 billion shares.
Wow.
That's like, the float was only like 300 million shares at that time. It was a smaller float because they've added so much since. But so it's like,
how much has he added? He added like what, 300-400 million?
Yeah. So let's see here. Let's see, on the Y charts, it'll show this chart of shares outstanding, and I think from, well, yeah, we can see here. I got to get this all this crap off here. Close all these paywall things. There we go. Um, so okay, here you go. In at the end of 2020, that's when it started increasing. So summer of 2020, there were 109 million shares. And then, so let's just say June 2020, there's 104 million shares, or 100 million shares. So that was June 2020. So 6 months later, in January 2020, you've already got over 300 million shares. So it is already tripled in 6 months. That's substantial. And then you go ahead from January 2020, where there's 300 million, 2021, sorry, January 2021, 300 million shares, go forward 6 months to June or July, let's say July 2021, and you have what we have now, 513 million shares. So it's up by 50%, that just from there too. So all in all, from June 2020 to June 2021, the float increased by 5 times.
Wow. And he still wants to buy
Literally from 100 million to 500 million. So that's substantial, and there's still $5.5 billion in debt. $5.5 billion.
God dang.
And they refinanced 900 million of that, I believe, recently. So that's what they did.
Yeah, they're fucked.
I mean, pretty much. And the share price is back down to $15. So, I mean, all these things taken together, this is not a healthy company. I mean, and I understand issuing the shares as the only thing that you have, and you have this retail, engagement, and they're going to be bought. I mean, it makes sense, but at this point, you're going to have retail is going to leave the stock once there's no squeeze, once the price keeps bleeding out, and it's clear that nothing major is going to happen. You're going to have massive exodus from the stock, more so. Still going to be those hardcores, but like Chilo's talking about knocking out most of the remaining people, like most of the remaining somewhat sane people, not the crazy people, but people that are where they're falling out on the idea of the MOAS. The idea is kind of like they're starting to question it maybe or whatever, and that's gonna deflate the stock price even more. So there's gonna be a problem there too. Like when that 30% of people that are gonna leave the stock, go ahead and sell. I don't know it's just going to be a mess. And who knows what's going to happen with AMC, the company. But I don't think popcorn is going to save it. I don't think selling popcorn, I don't think, having plant-based chicken nuggets.
Your dogs come in.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oy, oy, oy.
Not Lou, Ape Father.
Yeah. Ape Father, Lou. I mean, yeah, what's the difference, really?
Yeah.
They're both absurd. I mean, but at least, Lou versus Wall Street seems like he's talking about more serious stuff. But, yeah, Ape Father is just, I don't think he cares. I think he's just having fun, probably, and just putting out just, whatever he wants to. I don't know. I mean, maybe he's serious about everything. I know he's down a lot. 50,000 or something? I don't know. But, I mean, yeah, all these guys are just clowns.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what happens to all these channels like TMI, Wrench Capital, Trey. I think Matt. I guess he might survive since he bailed. I
Yeah,
don't follow his channel anymore.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't actually. It's a good question. I'll look up look at the Social Blade statistics on his channel. The thing about Matt, like, sometimes what he says is not totally wrong. You know, sometimes what he says is, it makes, he's basically right. But he's not very consistent with the quality of the information that he talks about. And I just don't think he's just not. He just, these guys don't have any experience. That's the thing that gets me. It's like I don't think that Matt Kohrs should be talking about this stuff. I don't think that Trey should have the audience that he has. I don't. It's just inappropriate.
He's got almost 400,000 subscribers.
Yeah, he's got 364,000.
What's he, only 23? How long has he been in the market? A year or two?
Yeah, I guess.
Couple years? But people take what he says like it's gospel. I mean,
right. Let's see. Yeah,
if you dare question him, you're just a shill. Or
it says his user. It said this Matt Kohrs channel was started on March 8th, 2020. So, I mean, then that doesn't mean he's been in the market that long, but that's when his channel was from. So, I mean, I think he got into it during COVID. I want to say that he got into it during COVID. Makes sense. I mean, that's right after. That's March 2020. That's when the shit hit the fan. So, yeah, I'm not sure, but I mean, he's okay. Here's the thing. His subscribers numbers are actually going down though. So he peaked out at 375,000 in November, and he's been declining a little bit. So a little bit every week it looks like here. So now he's down to 364,000, and he was at 375 back in November.
Wow.
So it's actually starting to go down. So he's definitely plateaued, and he's, I mean, I would think that this is just going to continue to kind of slide down. But, it's interesting to look at these statistics on here, like especially like this one here, monthly game subscribers and views. So he was gaining. He gained 157,000 subscribers in June 2021, and he literally lost 6,000 subscribers in January 2022. So that's a fall from grace, I would say. 157 plus 157 to minus 6,000. That's pretty bad. I mean, but again, he did change his tune. He changed his focus a little bit. So now I want to see Wrench Capital. So the detailed stats here. Actually, I think Matt has been in the market for around a decade. He used to do algo trading and is well read. Trey and TMI are new traders. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like why I said that sometimes he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. But sometimes he certainly does not. Like, he sounds like an uninformed investor. I would say he sounds like an uninformed investor most of the time. Yeah, especially pushing the AMC stuff. Thinking back on it, it's been a while, but Trey and TMI are new traders. I think Short the VIX is too. Wrench Capital actually is a real estate agent. I found that out. He's got a couple real estate videos up. And it's definitely him. Because he shows I mean, and they're from last year too. They were from before when he started showing his face on his channel, on this Wrench Capital channel. But let's see. He's gaining, he's not getting, look, he got no subscriber. He has gotten 0 subscribers for several weeks. Wow. Wow. Damn. He started his channel in early 2021. Yeah, January 2021. So he's got
I was one of
100,000.
the early subscribers. I remember.
Yeah, and I liked him too at
TMI
first.
was pretty early. Yeah, I liked all of them. I mean,
But
I
then,
never really liked Matt. He just,
I
he
wasn't
always
really
rubbed
into
me the
him
wrong
either.
way, but
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Jackson Hunter, I didn't really like too much.
yeah, he wasn't.
But yeah,
he
Trey,
wasn't my favorite.
TMI.
Yeah. I feel like there were no.
Clay Bro. I remember.
I never
he was kinda early.
I never got into him until I started doing videos, these videos and talking about these guys. I had never even heard of him. Same with Matthew Perry. A lot of these guys, like, people would be like, "Oh, have you do a video on Matthew Perry?" I'm like, "Who in the hell is Matthew Perry?" And I'll look him up and be like, "Oh, okay, now I see." But
And there's a lot of new guys I haven't heard of.
yeah, there are.
That Benji
Rico.
dude.
Oh,
Rico,
Benji. Yeah, he's been around for a while. I definitely did videos on him over the summer. And he just puts out, I mean, it's crazy how much shit he puts out. He puts out several videos a day, and they're all just him reading posts from Reddit. Rico is another one. He's a new one that I can't really stand. I can't stand him at all. It's like they just come up with oh, the Fibonacci extension on AMC. So you made a video putting a Fibonacci extension on AMC. Great. Okay. Good. Moneymaker Avi Lev. He's another one. It's he puts out a shitload of videos. Will I be right? Well, I was right. Will I be right again about AMC? No, Avi. You were wrong. You're going to be wrong again. Short to Vix says dividend is coming. I mean, no, it's not. Shorts could face
$5.5 billion in debt.
Shorts could face jail time. What the hell? Where do you get that from? My God.
Yeah, they've gone off the rails.
Yeah. Let's see here. The misinformed investors simulate and trade. There's another one. The robot voice.
Yeah, he's been around.
He's been around for a
Since
while.
the beginning,
Yeah.
right?
I think so. The creative investor. There's another one he's one of the worst. He's the guy who'll say, "You all are going to be rich." Okay, you all are going to be so rich. Boss Blunt says that too, but all of them do. But something about the creative investor just really rubs me the wrong way. I did so many videos on him before, busting him on he misinterpreted the 13F filings and the SEC filings. He totally just they just don't get the details, and so they come out with these videos like, oh, institutions are buying AMC. Well, you're looking at a filing from last month, and it doesn't say that they still own it. So you're putting out a video now talking about what they did last quarter, and how is that relevant? And they don't make those distinctions. Oh man, I did so many videos on.
Yeah, I wish you had your old videos.
I know, man. It really, and I could kill myself for deleting the files from my computer because it was just so much space. I had to get rid of it. It was so many it was gigabytes. It wasn't terabytes. I have a 2 terabyte hard drive in that computer, and yeah, it was a lot of space because I have the original video files, and then Then after you render it, it makes another video file. I just had so many video files. I had to get rid of them. And then of course I didn't know the shit was going to be deleted off YouTube. I mean, I thought that would be there forever.
Yeah.
Chilo says, I think some of the YouTubers who tried to piggyback on AMC popularity are starting to push crypto and NFT garbage now. Yeah, I mean, I think probably right. I've seen a lot of.
They'll have to pivot at some point if they want to keep going.
There's so much crypto stuff on here. New York Angelo, there's another one. New York Angelo, the Common Sense Investor. That's the one that somebody told me to look at. Was that you?
And then what's that? Who was the guy who did the dramatic video? The Short Squeeze channel.
Oh, Short Squeeze channel, yeah. Oh. Chilo, the name of my old channel was Scotty. It was just Scotty. But you won't find it. It's not there. In fact, I'll prove it. I'll prove that it existed.
Well, anyway, Scott, I got to run, but thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Look forward to doing it again.
Yeah, if you live stream tomorrow, I'll probably be around. So.
All right. Sounds good, man.
Definitely love to come back on.
All right. Yep. We'll have a little bit.
Have a nice rest of your evening.
All right. You too, Martin. Take care.
Take care.
All right. See ya. All right. I've got this somewhere. Here it is. Well, this is just a text from the email, but hi, Scotty. We reviewed your content and found severe or repeated violations of our community guidelines. Because of this, we have removed your channel from YouTube. We know this is probably a very upsetting news, but it's our job to make sure that YouTube is a safe place for all. If we think a channel severely violates our policies, we take it down to protect other users on the platform. But if you believe we've made the wrong call, you can appeal this decision. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to close this stream. I am pretty tired, so I gotta find my thing here. There we go. What better way to end this video? Roll another blunt, man. If you believe we've made the wrong call, you can appeal it. See ya, Chilo. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Thanks for the chatting. What our policy says: spam, scams, or commercially deceptive content are not allowed on YouTube. Learn more. How this affects your channel. We have permanently removed your channel from YouTube. Going forward, you won't be able to access, possess, or create any other YouTube channels. So you won't be able to access any other YouTube channels. And that's true. I couldn't watch YouTube. Fortunately, you have different accounts. Review the guidelines. If you have further questions, feel free to reach out to us. Well, they didn't. I mean, I don't know how in the hell you reach out. I didn't get any type of personal, attention at all. I appealed it, and then it was we have received your appeal, and we've decided to keep your shit blocked. Anyway. It's all good. Happy to be back. Anyway, and it's like when you get married the first time. and it doesn't go right, and you end up getting, whatever. And then the next relationship, like, you do better, hopefully. I know a lot of people that got married, again or again and again and again, and was better as time went on. So yeah, so I can fix things I did wrong before. However, I'm not going to remake the same content. Like, there's no way. I'm not even going to try. And so I just, we're going a little different direction this time. Like, I mean, trust me, I had all the sources for everything. And, that's a lot of research and whatnot. Links, everything. So I don't always have it. I've tried it, try to get those in there on this channel, on these videos, where it's relevant. But a lot of it now is just like, I have no desire to go back and talk about and look up the links again. I can't. It's so tedious. So I'll put the information out there, and you can either, trust me or not, but, you can go look it up, certainly, and see what I'm talking about. But anyway, double chorus. Lynn, you have a good night. Everybody have a good night. I've got to run. It's getting late. Midnight. Anyway, Lynn, we'll get you on the stream tomorrow, maybe, or Sunday, and we can chit chat. And yeah, Martin, thanks again for coming in the live stream. I'm digging the increased participation. So again, that's an open invitation for anybody to come in. Join the Telegram group. We got a link in the description. And come on in. Not right now, obviously. So we're getting ready to leave for the night, but we've got a nice group there. Chat group. We should make an NFT for that. We should make an NFT for finance chat. I think that would work. Anyway, good night all. Have a good night. Catch you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful evening.